with the Crown B, and we are not at Winter's house. Normally you see me at Winter's house. I'm actually here on our mountain, here in Crested Butte in our mountain home, and we're at about 11,000 feet elevation. So there are some things that you kind of have to get used to, and the altitude is a struggle for sure. My sisters just left. They were here for a week, and I'm here for another week. Greenwood was to come meet me, but his mom had some medical things that he needed to stay home. And so it's just me, and I have all this time to craft, so I wanted to bring you with me. So today we are gonna make these little babies. We're gonna porcelain paint. And what's great about this is you can fire it in your own oven. You can turn your oven into your very own kiln, and then this is unscratchable and it kind of seals it in. You can use any porcelain. We're gonna be using tiles. You can get these super cheap. When I say cheap, I think I bought, how many is there? A dozen, and they were like $6 maybe off Amazon. You can also, as long as it's porcelain, do plates, cups, little trivet dishes, anything. The sky's the limit, and that's the exciting part about this. Now, where I have seen this done, and it totally blew my mind and inspired me greatly, there's this wonderful lady named Vivian on a channel called Chateau Love, and she's just the most beautiful angel person ever. And by the way, she has a shop where she offers French antiques and jewelry, and they're absolutely beautiful. So check that out, check her out. I adore her. I'm totally addicted to her channel. It's like a big hug. But she does porcelain painting. And now she's an artist and very, very good at it. So it's inspiring to watch her do her thing because she's so good. She does full sets of china and French-inspired tiles that would be like toile de jouy scenes that are just beautiful. You could, depending on your pattern, you could do a backsplash in your bathroom or your kitchen, around your fireplace. You can make coasters. These would be great little Christmas gifts. Christmas is coming. You could whip out a set of 4 or 6 in an afternoon, and you would have a beautiful gift. Now, this was free-handed on this tile. However, you can get patterns off the internet, and the sky's the limit. You can get anything you can think of on Pinterest. Just Google tile patterns and print those babies off. I'm sorry about my voice too. I don't know if I mentioned, but my sisters and I went fly fishing and we caught some trout. But we were in the icy river for the afternoon, and here I am. But it was so worth it. It was so much fun. You're gonna need carbon paper, and you can use any carbon paper. Again, I had this shipped into the mountain. And you're gonna need 6B pencils. Vivian recommends this because they're greasy and they'll bake off in the oven. And it's true, she's wonderful. I highly recommend watching her channel. You'll be addicted. The paints she also recommended were these. Unfortunately, I can only get this multi-pack. I tried to get the little individuals, the ones that look more Wedgwood or Delft inspired. And for some reason, it's just the luck of the draw. Sometimes being up here on the mountain, they'll deliver it and everything's fine. And then sometimes they say they can't deliver it. So I don't know. Those are the ones that I wanted though. But I did get the multi-pack, and I'll have to show you what my sisters and I did because we did this for the afternoon. We painted downstairs in the lodge and spent the afternoon doing that, just laughing and horsing around and having fun, and had a charcuterie tray and all sorts of yummy things, and one another's company. It was great. This would be a great thing to do with kids as well. So you got your paints. Also, this brand is Pebeo. There was other brands of this, but this is what Vivian recommended. So I wanted to follow that because she's amazing, so amazing. So I'm gonna move the camera down, but before I do, I'm gonna give you a tour of our mountain home as it looks today. I know I did that when we moved in, and kind of revamp things, but I'm always tweaking. And so we're gonna do a little tour, and then I'm gonna give you a little tour of our town downtown, the historic area that I love so much. And I'm gonna film what it looks like as I go down into the town. And it's just beautiful. And every day, and my sisters notice this, every day, no matter what is going on, the mountain is different, you know, because you're changing seasons and days, and the sun's in different positions, and it's just spectacular. So I want to share that with you guys too. So I'm going to bend the camera down. Once we paint these, then I'm going to show you what the next step is, and you're going to have some beautiful keepsakes. So again, this is fun to do with a group. You can get, you know, all box of tiles for hardly any money. The paints were, I don't know, maybe 13 bucks. And you know, we predominantly use the blue, and it's almost still full. So you just use very little. These are just the tiny little, the bottles, which I kind of recommend. Then you can see which ones you like. You're gonna also need some paintbrushes. And what I will recommend was, I'm a painter, a landscape painter, and so I have my really good brushes that I didn't want to ruin. And so I bought some cheap brushes, and that was a bad idea because you couldn't get the fine lines. These are teeny tiny tips. And I'm just going to show you a very simple winter scene that you can do without having to print a pattern off, etc. But you all are so creative. I know that you could freehand something. And again, those patterns are pretty amazing on Pinterest. I have a whole file of it, but unfortunately I don't have a printer here up on the mountain, and not access to go print it someplace. So we just freehanded it. That's how we rolled. So that's what we're gonna do right now. And so I'm gonna bend the camera down, and I'm gonna show you how we're gonna do it. Now I wanted to say as well, if you make a boo-boo and you don't like it, or say you want to go in a different direction, you can just wipe it off with a cloth. I also recommend, if it's, we're on a mountain where it's super dry, so I had to actually use rubbing alcohol to get it off. This is 70% rubbing alcohol, and that'll take it right off. And then just make sure it's totally dry before you start in. So we're gonna do a basic Christmas tree. And I'm gonna start with, this is bronze green. So when it fires, it'll have a little bit of a sheen to it. You could wear rubber gloves, especially if there's little ones that are doing this. I would recommend it, since it is not natural pigments. So we're gonna start with a brush with a fine tip. Again, I really encourage getting good brushes. I learned my lesson on that. You can clean these with rubbing alcohol, I have found. So we're just gonna find the center of our tile, and again, I'm just gonna eyeball it. So this will be the tip of the tree right here. Now, everything, and this is what I love about being a landscape painter, everything in nature is abstract, meaning that it is imperfect, and no two things are identical. They can be very, very close. And you can see I'm just starting kind of almost like you're making the tip to a mountain. And then you're gonna use your brush. Now this isn't, these porcelain paints, how can they're a combination between paints and alcohol inks, if you've ever tried your hand at that. It's not like a paint that you can use a fan brush or something like that, because the harder you press down see right here, see how thin it got? And then you're gonna have to layer on top of that. So I want you to think of, we're gonna make our basic shape. And you can make this tree as big as you want. So I'm just gonna keep building out. And there's the little branches that are sticking out. And again, this can be as, imperfect or perfect as you want it. But I definitely think this is something that kids can do. And I'm just almost like think about shingles on a house. And I'm just shingling down. And you can see where it's puddling. You can kind of go back and pick that up on your brush. And I'm gonna make a wider tree. So I'm gonna come down here a little bit. Just kind of making my basic shape. And then you can build out the limbs a little bit. See how I can kind of make a finer tip like that. And then I'm just gonna kind of go down. Super, super easy. And you can let this dry a little bit and then add to it, or you can fire it in your oven. And then once that's cured, you can fire, paint, repaint, and fire again. But you want to let it cure for 24 hours. These will need to be cured for 24 hours, completely dried. So if you've ever studied pine trees or evergreen trees, you will have noticed that they are not symmetrical. Now, when we think of a Christmas tree or whatnot, you want to kind of make it a little more uniform, but whatever pleases you. And you can see that I'm just layering it on. This couldn't be easier. Just kind of haphazardly, like it's the limbs of a tree. And like we were talking about before I had a big coughing fit, these will be needing to cure for 24 hours, and then it will be fired in the oven at 300 degrees for 30 minutes. Now we're on the mountain. Things cook differently here, 100%ly. And you're just gonna keep layering these. And what's gonna happen when you put these in your oven to fire them, it's going to make them scratch resistant, and kind of it seals them a little bit. Now, I did, and I don't know if Vivian does this. I would have to go back and watch or send her a note. I did see other people sealing, and I would assume if these were going to be exposed to, dampness, or say it was in the bathroom or in the kitchen, you could, to seal them, or a coaster for that matter, with perhaps, some people have done it with dishwasher safe Mod Podge, and that'll seal it out. Now, however, I don't know how that would change the look of the porcelain, because it's so pretty and shiny. I don't know if that would, get rid of that clean shine look, and also the way that it feels, probably. But maybe not. We'll have to do an experiment. I can't get the Mod Podge here in time for this project, but I can when I get home, and I can let you guys know for sure. And you can see where, again, it's pooling, and I don't mind that so much, because when this becomes fired, it'll make it more uniform, and you'll see. Now, this is kind of a big old tree. You don't have to make yours this big for sure. And what's great about this, and again, my paints are lacking. The ones that I really wanted are not here, but use the red. Here's I think this is Scarlet Red that I have in my little multi-pack. And you can make little red bulbs. You could get the fine brush and do little berries and make a garland that goes around it. I don't have brown, or I may have done that, but I do have gold. I can make a little star. Now see how I'm texturing this. See how I'm running my brush, especially through these little puddles, and I'm just texturing. And we have a Christmas tree. And you can put a little trunk on it, which I think would be super cute, but again, I do not have brown. Now this is not how I make my trees when I landscape paint, but I think for this porcelain paint, I think it is just fine. Again, it's like painting with an alcohol ink. That's what it reminds me of. And I might get my, I'm gonna get this finer tipped one, and let's see if we can give some definition to the limbs. And just gonna bring it out. Oh, that's lovely. Just random. Remember there, each side of the tree is kind of like us. You know, our faces aren't necessarily identical. And this is gonna be lovely. These would be great gifts, I'm just saying. Now the way that you would make it into a coaster, if you've ever done it, you wanna get some cork. And again, we're on the mountain, so I don't have access to cork. I'd have to see if I could ship it in. That's the thing about living up here, is you gotta get super creative, especially when you're crafting, because you can't always find what you want. Now see this, I got a little crazy with this. I could theoretically get a Q-tip and I could take that little part off. I'm gonna leave it because I think it should be an imperfect tree. That's what makes it special. But back to how you would make it into a coaster, you would get cork and some spray adhesive, and you would spray the cork and spray the back of this and squish it on there. And I usually put a stack of books on top of it so it really adheses to it well. And you have a beautiful coaster to give. Now some people I've seen, they've just taken little knobs, those little rubber knobs that you can get, and I think that's fine. But for me, if you pick up the coaster, I want it to kind of like finish. You see how I'm just doing little wispies here, just to give it a little bit more of a realistic look. Now, normally when you paint, you're gonna make your bottom a little darker, and that'll ground it into the scene that you're painting. And where's my, here, I'll show you in this one. If you'll notice, this is all the same color I used. It's this color right here. But I was a little bit lighter hand to do the trees that would be further away. And this was my attempt at a Delft-esque tile. You know, I kind of made the trees a little different, like you see sometimes in Delft. But I wish I wouldn't gotten the Delft color, because it would have been spectacular. But this is pretty too. Now, something that you could do that would be fun with this, you let this totally dry and add snow. And that would be super easy. You would just add it to the top of these limbs, just like that. Like if I had white. Here we go. Now we have some fun crafts coming up for Christmas. And I'm excited in there because I'm going to use that to give it definition. But look how pretty that is. Isn't that lovely? Now here's one that I did is a test. And you can see this one's a little bit lighter. And this one's a little darker. I kind of think I like this one, but I think this one is fun too. And I think it would be fun just to make all different shapes of trees kind of in that style. Look how fun that would be. So here it is. So what we're gonna do is we are going to let this dry for 24 hours. And then we're gonna put these in the oven and we're gonna bake them at 300 for 30 minutes. So too, before these go in, and I wanted to show you how I do it, I just put them on a baking sheet and pop them in that way. Now you could probably put them directly on the rack, but then I think it would be a hassle to get them out without touching this, because this has to cool as well. So here's the 4 that I did. You can see that they're all vastly different, but I think these would be so cute out for Christmas. Okay, these little babies are gonna go in the oven for 30 minutes at 300. Now I might, again, we're up on the mountain at a very high elevation. I may cook mine just a little bit longer, or should I say fire them. So these are gonna go in the oven and then I'll bring you back when they're all cool. Guys, check it out. I just pulled these ladies out of the oven and I am loving them so much. Look how beautiful. Look at the details on them. And they're all slightly different. I'm under the soffit lights because it is pitch dark on the mountain and our little nest gets a little dark for lighting. But here they are. I hope you loved my video. And if you did, give me a like. Oh my goodness, give me a like and that'll help me in the algorithm of crazy YouTube. Now I'm gonna show you. Remember when I was saying they kind of melt as your oven becomes a kiln? Look how pretty that is. See how shiny and it's got a sheen to it. Just so pretty. These are permanent. You're not gonna get it off these now. These are gonna be coasters. I'm gonna put cork on them and I'm gonna keep them here in our mountain home as coasters for our winter. So we'll be back here skiing soon. I'm heading home tomorrow to Winter's house and I miss everybody so much. I was here with my 2 sisters. I have 3 sisters. One was unable to get off work, but the older 2 came and we fly fished and oh my goodness. We made pottery and we hiked and fossil hunted and we painted tiles. The tile that I showed you, the blue tile, that's one of the ones that I did. And we just had so much fun. This is a great craft to do with friends or your grandchildren or children. So there it is. Check out Vivian's channel. Again, Chateau Love, and she has a shop. Just Google Chateau Love shop. And I'll try to post a picture of it when I get home. But I bought the Lady Liberty pendant, which is just fantastic. And Travis and I, Greenwood and I, just got home from Paris, and I was hunting down the Lady Liberty painting, because that's what our Statue of Liberty is based on here in the United States, which, as you know, that was a gift from France. So check her out and I will see you guys later. Oh, hey, before I say goodbye, let's take a trip in town and I'm going to show you why I love this mountain so very much. Take care, guys, and happy Thanksgiving. My beautiful sister Linda and Vicky arrived to Crested Butte to spend an entire week with me. I was so thrilled. I was giddy. And our adventure immediately dove headfirst into fly fishing. And I have fly fished many, many times. My sisters have not. But I have to tell you, they were absolute naturals at it and immediately caught their own trout. They were beautiful at it. I just marvel at watching them do it. Just such naturals. We stood in the November icy river, thigh deep in our childhood wonderment, and it just was so good for our hearts and our souls. And we were all 12-year-olds again in our hearts and just laughed and giggled and made such beautiful, treasured memories. Now, being that we're sisters, there was a double dare that I had to kiss my fish. And so I promptly picked up my beautiful brown trout and gave it a big smooch on the back of the face. So there it is, me kissing a trout, my sister Vicky and her rainbow trout. I love her smile. And my sister Linda and her beautiful brown trout. And I love her smile and spirit. Actually, she caught the first fish of the day. I was so proud of them both. Then we walked amongst the beautiful aspens. Happy chatter surrounded us. And you can't have a sister's trip without a craft day. And so again, we made these beautiful tiles, the same tiles that I taught you how to make your very own. And we sat and we talked and enjoyed one another's company. Again, it was a beautiful day. We ended our week with a beautiful afternoon of making our very own pottery on the wheel. And my sisters were again such naturals and so talented, and they made their very own beautiful bowls that are actually getting ready to ship to them soon. They're glazed and ready to enjoy. to sneak this last part in. I was actually getting ready to upload the video of the painting of the tiles that you've just watched, and I was running to go to Dollar Tree for another project that I'm filming for you guys for Christmas that you're gonna love, and I'm super excited about showing you that. But I found these porcelain mugs for $1.25, and they're super heavy. They're nice, beautiful white porcelain mugs. So again, I'm going to use the same technique. I'm going to put a big fun Christmas tree on it. I'm going to bake them for 30 minutes at an oven at 300 degrees. And I won't bore you with painting these because it's the same exact technique I used on the tiles, but you could use your imagination. There's a ton of colors in here that you can get off Amazon. You could do a candy cane, you could do a Santa's face, you could do a snowman. The sky's the limit. I'm just going to stick to the theme that I have going, but I think these will be wonderful in a little gift basket with hot cocoa and some homemade cookies and some fresh evergreen kind of tucked in to follow the theme of the evergreen trees. So there it is. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll include a picture of the final project.